All right, welcome back to the Trenchless Table, guys. As you can see, we are still here in Germany at IFAT, and we are on the last day. So, and on the table, we've got M&Ms and straight up coffee beans just to get us through this last day of the show. We are joined by one of our international installers here, Ipsum, and we thought we couldn't turn down that opportunity to have a conversation with him today. So we've got Mark here, and we're going to let him introduce himself and Ipsum and what they do in the UK.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for having me. I'm Mark Kaney. I'm the Managing Director of the Water and Infrastructure Division at Ipsum. Ipsum is an engineering services provider in the UK. We work in the water and power sectors, providing solutions to regulated businesses such as the water companies and the power companies, and also non-regulated businesses. And that can be anything from national chains like Starbucks and Amazon and people like that to facilities management companies. We do stuff with the defense industry, the MOD and stuff like that. So a broad range of customers with a broad range of needs, but some of the largest asset bases in Europe.
You guys just joined the OBIC family here recently, and it was just last summer. And so we had the boys over, we had a blast. Since then, it's gone off pretty rapidly. You guys have been on a tear going out doing sales and marketing. And so in this last 8 months, Mark, tell us a little bit about what your team has done to bring OBIC to the marketplace and how it fits in with the other services you're doing outside of just manhole rehabilitation.
I think for me the key was go back to before we even signed the partnership agreement. When my technology and innovation team brought this to me, I'm always looking to see what solutions there are that we can help our clients with to move their agendas forward, to move the performance and the service that their assets give. I've been fortunate in my career to work around the world, and I know that although British engineering is often the best, we are often slow to adopt and innovate. And one of the things I wanted to do was partner with companies who understood that kind of need, not just to sell stuff, but to solve problems, because the two are not necessarily the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So it started for me by really doing the due diligence on what is OBIC, what does it do, who's it currently doing it for, and how do we translate those potential use cases over to our clients. And once you kind of get that in your head, you then want to test those assumptions with the clients. And that's where events a bit like this come in, like when we bring the delegations of clients with us. Because I don't ask them the question, I'll come and stand them in front of you and let them ask you the question.
Yeah.
So I could see pretty early on from the feedback from a lot of them that they were like, there's some legs in this is something we can do. So the key was really map out, if we're going to launch this in a new territory, do it properly, do it in a planned and supported way with kind of checkpoints along the way. So you don't just kind of go, let's sign a commercial agreement and then everyone just runs off and goes, let's try and sell some stuff, because I don't think that's what we're trying to do here. We're providing solutions for certain problems, and that's a much longer thing. So I think the key was getting aligned on what we wanted to do with it, creating the partnership, having the launch event, which we did at Loughborough University, and you guys came and did that, and that was a really well-received event. And the follow-on to that with the demos and everything was then to follow up with those clients, but also to then bring out some of the marketing to say, like, we have this now available in the UK, this is what it does, these are the kind of clients that use it, this is the kind of things it can do for you. And it was really then building on that momentum. What we had to do alongside that, because it's brand new, was we had to get the way to actually deploy this solution, which meant a newly configured fleet asset with kit in it and everything else.
It looks great, by the way.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
And if you watch long enough on the video, it's going to show up over your shoulder, so that's cool.
But yeah, so that's a fairly big investment. So again, doing that due diligence before you pull the trigger on spending that much money on something, you've got to be comfortable. The next thing that is, it's no point having this state-of-the-art solution if you've not got a state-of-the-art team who can deploy it. So that was why we took the choice to send the first squads out to because you've got an in-house training facility. And when I was talking with the team, it was like, well, we probably could do some of the training in the UK, but this is the first team that's going to do it. There will be some nervousness around it. and you guys are all set up to do the training in your facility. Why are we trying to recreate something that already exists and it's proven? So, and I think it worked better because I think they got to meet you guys, they got to be in and around people who already do this day in, day out, and be in that environment where they learned how to deploy the solution, understand how it works, why it works, some of the potential problems that you can come across. So that's probably given them the confidence as well as the knowledge to come back, take control of this wonderful new asset and go, we can do this.
Yeah.
And the key then for us was like, we have some great relationships with some of our clients. I want to do this with them first because there will be a level of trust that it's new, but it's proven enough that why shouldn't it work? Rather than prove to me it will work. And we were lucky enough with one of our clients who then gave us our kind of first programs of work to start on some smaller assets like manholes and things like that. So we're starting to ramp up with that now. The team's out and they're deploying. We're talking with a range of clients, not just water companies, but people from the food and beverage industries, power companies, facilities management companies, for a range of asset classes such as detention tanks, bonding storage areas, manhole chambers, bigger areas, wet wells. So even into the clean water, into service reservoirs and things like that. So the key for me now is, again, keeping that quite steady and saying, well, what's next? We need to get some more of these projects in and deliver them. So we've got UK case studies for UK customers to see.
Yeah.
It'd be great to get them out on site to see it because the way the system works is you can get to see it like pretty much done and not have to wait like a week on site. You can do it in a day and watch it, right? And then for me, it's more training. So you guys are coming over and training our next teams, I think in June, so pretty quickly. And we're looking at speccing up some different configurations of the kind of the fleet assets to go and do some of the different solutions. So it's really just, again, taking the growth steadily. And it's been great to work with you guys because then if you know what our plan is, you could go like, right, from our perspective, this is what we'll probably need to support you with, and this is when we'll need to have it ready. Rather than us just coming to you, I need 10 of them, and you guys need to be over here next week because that's just a nightmare for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's gone well. I think we've got out the blocks, we've got some jobs going, pipeline's building nicely. And as we get into the summer, that's when more work gets done because we've got longer days, more time to do stuff. So I'm really confident to see where the rest of this year goes and to see what we're doing building the next phase of this to roll it out.
Yeah, we know you guys are going to kill it. I mean, you guys have already done so well with everything and bringing it to the UK. Can you tell us a little bit about infrastructure in the UK? Because I think it's, we see stuff in the US all the time. We have a lot of case studies about what's going on in the US with infrastructure repair. Is it a hot topic in the UK? Is it something you guys are just starting to get into, or are there other people trying to do this? What is the environment like for infrastructure repair?
You've probably even seen it yourself. The water sector in the UK has become heavily politicised over probably like the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Leakage is too high. Pollution is too high. We have ageing infrastructure that has not been maintained, and therefore there is a high cost to bring things back to baseline. And there has been a lot of discussions with the regulators, with the government, and the conclusion of that is this regulatory period, what we call AMP8, the 8th kind of great 5-year regulatory period we've had since privatisation, is the biggest funded programme in the history of privatised water. It's £104 billion to be delivered in 5 years.
Wow.
Which is a lot of work. And that is to improve not just our rivers and our seas, but our communities, to reduce pollution, reduce flooding. And a lot of that is not just building lots and lots of new assets. You have to look at your existing asset base and say, what is it about this that's not working for us? What do we need to do for this? You add to the back of that this kind of the water scarcity problem that we have, that we'll have by 2050 a 5 billion litre deficit, I think. And that just says we've got to manage these assets properly. We've got to invest in them. We've got to get them best resilience, the highest asset life, and the lowest cost to serve, because in the current macroeconomic environment, no one's got loads of money lying around. Customers don't want to see bills going up and up and up. We need to find solutions that can get us at a cost-effective way to improve the quality of our infrastructure.
Yeah.
The key thing for me is now that has not been a water industry conversation. It's now a national conversation.
Which is interesting because we talk all the time that when people are trying to get in office, they really never talk about the water or sewer issues. But I guess in the UK it's a little different,
Well, and Mark told me that earlier today, and it kind of blew my mind. He said there's a water shortage, and I said, I'm not always great about all of the countries over here in Europe, but I was pretty confident they were 100% surrounded by water, but they don't have desalination plants.
We've got one or two in the UK.
Oh, okay.
We don't have that.
And so that kind of surprised me that there is a water shortage and that this is a key topic for them, where for us, maybe we just take it for granted that just plop a well down
Well,
and have natural
say-
resources like the Great Lakes and things like that
If you go down
that
to
feed us.
Colorado, they are
Yeah.
very
dry.
I know some people that work in that. But yeah, it's different. I mean, look, we are addressing it. You think there's a lot of big reservoirs. First time in 30 years, we're building some big reservoir projects in the UK. We have some transfer main projects to move water around the country better. So I think this is a mindset shift in that you're not just looking at each water company's just looking within their boundary and going, well, I'll just make sure my blue customers are fine.
Right.
We're starting to think of this now more as...
Did he just say 5 million?
Yeah.
Oh, my 5 million customers are fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
There's 10 million people in London.
Yeah.
And that's why they've got 20 billion to spend in the next 5 years.
That's insane.
One water company needs to chew through that much work. You've got
Wow.
to be clear that the solutions that you're putting in place, you're going to get it done, right?
Yeah. And I guess to that point, it's probably nice that when you are rehabbing structures in London, downtown, trying to work in tight spaces, that you don't have to be there long.
It's a nightmare. Like, London is like no other place on earth, and there have been case studies to prove it in terms of, it's the seat of government. The royal family live there. It's a very tight urban conurbation with high rises. You try closing roads down by Victoria Station for any length of time.
Yeah.
If you manage to get it done, it's going to cost you, and every minute that you've got that thing closed is expensive, and you're probably upsetting an awful lot of people. And then you have embargoes around when government and royalties moving around the city and stuff. So, yeah, solutions that mean that you can get in and get out quickly are absolutely vital in areas like that.
So with the OBIC product being so quick return to service, tech-free, dry, that's something that matters to you guys then, because then you can get back to the open the roads and not impact people.
I thought, we've used London as an extreme example, but I would say that stands for everywhere in the country. People, it's like people get really upset when their normal route to get anywhere isn't available to them anymore. They're sick of seeing cones and barriers and lights up and a sign saying this is going to be done for the next 7 weeks.
Yeah.
If we can get in and we can get out, it's better, and it means that we can do more. Like if you think about the smaller assets like the manhole sealing and stuff like that. Because of the pace that this cures and gets to its kind of structural strength, you can do more. So if we can do more units per month, then we can deploy the solutions quicker, which means that there's not as much infiltration, which means you've got higher structural life, which means you might be treating as much rainwater, and the more you can do in a year, then every cubic meter of effluent that you have to treat at the treatment works, that costs money in chemicals and power and everything. Yep. The quicker we can get through and stop some of that getting down there, you're not just getting a solution up here, you're reducing your costs down there. So your run rate matters.
Yeah, say it louder. I love that. That's
exactly. It rains a lot in the UK as well.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. But no, that's exactly the point that we've been trying to get across, is that the product is one thing. It works well. It does what we say it does. But actually, it's the cost benefit on the other side of getting it done that's the most important part, and we just don't know. I don't know how to say that loud enough. I don't know how to say that enough, that people understand that.
It's the most difficult aspect of long life benefit realization, that when you say to someone, this will be great, in 50 years I'll prove it to you.
Right.
Not many people stay at one company for 4 or 5 years, let alone 50 years. So in that aspect there is a little bit of faith involved, but I think again, as we start to look at whole life asset management, and you're saying, look, it's far cheaper to extend an asset's life if it's extended meaningfully than to go and have to create an entire new asset or asset system. And I think it's where what we want to do is give asset owners options in terms of how they maintain that value from that asset, how long they do it, how quickly they do it. And it's a mixture of Can it provide service? Is it resilient? How critical is the asset? And where does it sit within your funding envelope to be able to do that cost benefit? The more solutions we can give them, the more choice they have. The more choice they have, the better their outcomes will be.
So we've talked a lot about OBIC and rehab projects, but we wanted the Trenchless Table to be more about construction in general. So what has been your favorite project that you've ever worked on with your customers? It doesn't have to be trenchless. It could be anything, really. They're very excited over there.
Sounds like lunch has been served.
Yes.
If I think back to when I worked at a water company, we did a lot of big projects, and one of them, I was the program sponsor for. One of the projects was a big tunneling project in a big city. Big tunneling job through a city centre, really difficult. And that was just a fantastic project from the point of view as I qualified as a civil engineer, so I spent the early part of my career down in holes, digging holes, pouring concrete, seeing big things. So to see these big TBMs going through, and that was kind of cool. But also doing some of the work.
Sounds kind of cool.
It does sound cool.
Yeah, and it is trenchless. The other one, some of the other stuff I've done is some of the digital project work I've done.
Okay.
One of my previous companies, we put one of the first sort of digital twins into the UK water companies.
And what is that?
It's basically a digital representation of a physical asset. So you can try scenarios out, you can test solutions, and the digital twin will show you how the physical asset will behave.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty cool. And the client had a really tight time scale to get this proof of concept out, and my dev team worked all the hours God sent to get it done. And it was really good to bring something like that to market. And that's why I do say to my teams, look, innovation's important, and it doesn't have to be big and shiny. Some of the best innovations is the simpler stuff, right? But if we keep doing what we've always done, we're only going to get what we've always got. And if we have to spend twice as much and improve the infrastructure by much more than we have done, we need to think differently. So that's the key, is find stuff that works and think about the right way to deploy it.
You know what I just heard? World round, the definition of insanity is the same thing.
Yes.
So that is that's awesome. One of the things that you guys have a big company, and it's growing by leaps and bounds this year. And so tell us a little bit about. Well, I guess you got more questions on?
No, I'm good. I'm good moving.
I just want to talk about culture a little bit, because I think with big companies, you've got to have a good culture. You've got to have a culture where people want to show up every day, and it's not just for a paycheck. When you have currently 1,200-ish,
probably headed up to 1,500.
1,500 is in the target. So when you got 1,500 team members, how do you find that many? And also, what's the culture like?
I think, as I've said now, the water sector especially is quite heavily politicized, and there have been instances of people being stopped on the street, shouted at on social media. So it's not as easy to come and work in it as it used to be. But what we do matters. It matters to people's lives.
Absolutely.
So, and what we see now is a lot more younger people. They don't just want to come to work, punch in, punch out, and take their money out. They want to be like, well, what am I doing? What projects will I do? Why does it matter? Give me a purpose. So I think we need to be a purpose-led organization in terms of, we want to be the best quality. We want to be known to being really good at what we do. We want to be known to be a technology-led, progressive company that helps find solutions, because what we do does matter to the environment and culture, everyone. So I think you have to start there. What's the mission? And then behind that is kind of the values, which is about, just get it wrong and stick your hand up and fix it. Be curious, look for new ideas, look for new solutions, be collaborative, because no one ever brings anything massive on their own. So you start to look at things like that, and then you say, well, what are we doing to attract people? We know that there is, people call it the silver tsunami. There are that many people, experienced people leaving our industry, and we're not replacing them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just going to the market to try and find almost like oven-ready experts, there's only so many of them. So we've actually started to decide to grow our own. So we're looking at apprenticeships. We're looking at like ex-military or different avenues of bringing people into the industry, and training them, and then having them go on ride-alongs with the teams and really developing those early stages careers. And we're building training academies within Ipsum at the moment. We're putting new kind of job descriptions in certain regions of my business to test them, where people who maybe are getting on a bit and don't fancy 40 hours on site in the rain and the mud and everything, but are really knowledgeable, well, stay and coach the next generation, impart that wisdom to them, help them through their career development. We build technical pathways and career development frameworks for them. So I want people to join Ipsum because they want a career, not because they want a job. And I want them to be able to come in and go, well, I'm doing this today, but in 3 years I could be doing that. And be able to see exactly what they need to do to get to that.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest reasons people end up leaving a company is there's no clear path forward.
Yeah.
So it seems like you guys have outlined a way around that.
We put a lot of work into, some of our operating model projects and our career pathways and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's almost like putting the jigsaw. You build the jigsaw pieces, and slowly over a couple of years, everyone can actually see how it starts to connect. And then you've suddenly got job descriptions that are part of job families, that are part of technical development frameworks, that are all linked to competencies, that are all linked to training requirements, and it just all becomes just a clear map of who needs to do what and when.
Yeah.
And one of the things we used to outsource our talent acquisition, which when we were a smaller company worked okay, but at the scale that we've needed to recruit, we decided to bring that in-house. So now we've got a brilliant talent team that really work closely with ops to understand the need and what you're trying to do. And they're going great guns. They're hiring like 30, 40 people a month.
Wow.
Which is no short feat.
Yesterday, when Mark was telling me a little bit about their academy and their training program, it got me thinking how this industry is integral for the growth of everybody. You can learn so much if you just listen. And I took some of the information we were sharing yesterday about the academy and got to thinking about things that we're doing in-house, because our companies are a little bit smaller than yours. And we've got the two construction arms, but then we've got the product service side. And so it's a dire need everywhere to have programs to bring the future generations into this industry, so that we do have a backflow, back up against that silver tsunami that is going to be leaving. So we see those same issues. And a lot of people, it still frustrates me a little bit, because people say, I can't find workers, the young generation doesn't want to work. But I disagree. And that's what we talked about yesterday is they want to work. They want to work hard. We just got to help them find purpose, but also give them the skills, because they just weren't taught, or they were busy doing other things as kids and didn't hang out doing construction stuff like I grew up doing as a kid. And so that was cool to talk about yesterday.
And I think it's like something Ian said was about, we do accept that life can be harder for kids now.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to make that path a bit easier for them, because we're the ones with the companies, we're the ones with the opportunities. If you give them a path, they'll run hard at it, as long as they understand where they need to run. And sometimes it's that they kind of come out of education, or maybe even not that, they come out of what vocational stuff they've done, and they go, I just don't know what is out there, so I need to do something. And then they get to something, they go, well, I'm not quite sure what I've just let myself in for. I think that first week, first month, first year is really important, because they need to understand not just what they're doing, why it's important, why they're doing it, and why it's good for them to be doing it with you. If you get that bit right, then, as you say, there's no shortage of people willing to put the effort in. We just got to direct that energy in the right way.
And I also think that it's important because from a marketing perspective, when it comes to how we want to portray a company, we want to portray industry expertise, right?
Yeah.
But I think we need to take it one step further, and we now need to become industry teachers. So it's not just about Dustin being an expert in trenchless applications. I now need him to be an expert and also give his expertise to the next generation.
We need another 5 Dustins.
We need another 5 Dustins. So
That's a scary asset to have.
Maybe we'll pick somebody different.
Maybe another 5 Marks
yeah,
or 5
maybe another-
Christies
yeah,
or another 5
5
Lees, but let's.
But I think that's why so many companies now are looking at internal training programs like that, like not just outsourced, like, hey, I'm going to bring a trainer in and teach you guys about this aspect of business or how to sell or whatever, but now it's more targeted towards your business, your application. It's your people doing training.
Like, I often find people, if they don't know what you guys do, if they're stood over there, they might look at it and go, "Oh, they're selling some of this stuff."
Yeah.
And it's like, so they might think you're going to go out and just find anyone you can find and go, do you want 10 of them? Instead of saying, I know what challenges you've got, and I think I might have some solutions that can fix the challenges. It's like, if you look at that picture behind you, what are you actually selling? Is it that, or is it that?
In this picture, we're selling both. We'd love to sell more of the product, but it only sells because of this.
This is the point.
Yeah.
What that does either amplifies that or destroys it.
Exactly.
But actually what the clients want to know is not necessarily, because almost like if you've got all the accreditations that this has got and you've got the proofs and the stats, then it's a given that this works by that point.
Right.
So that's not even in the conversation anymore. It's like, why does this work for me?
Right. Well, and that's
what will it do?
I think that's the whole reason that we only work with certified applicators.
That's exactly where I was just going.
Yeah. So a lot of people always ask us, can we just sell OBIC and I put it on? No, because you're exactly right. This can make or break the product because of the way that it's put on. What's the most important part about how to put polyurea on?
Prep.
Absolutely. So that comes down to industry expertise and making sure that everybody's doing it the same, which is why we are so stringent on bringing in new applicators.
And that's why, that training was as exhaustive as it was, because it's not just like, there's a spray gun, there's a wall, go have a few hours fun, see what you can come up with. There's science behind it. There's an actual workflow and a process. And almost like, as you say, that the spraying's the easy bit at the end.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff you have to do to get to the point where you're about to pull that trigger is what makes it work. And you have to get the teams that are executing this, they need to be smart with what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because that, if you want that 50 plus years, it's not this that gives you it, it's the way it is deployed that gives you it. You can destroy that 50 years by deploying it wrong. And our clients want, especially when you guys must know it, like going into new territories, all eyes are on, right? Because this has never been done before, and they're just like, I'm not so sure yet, but we'll want to give you a go.
Yeah.
If that execution is not 100% right up there, then all you're doing is playing into those doubts where they go like, yeah, I was right not to be too sure about this. So it is critical. It's really critical.
Yeah, and we don't want this to be, you see some companies, there's case studies about companies where they go into one market and it starts to dip in a market, and then they go to another market and they go to another one. But in infrastructure rehab, the world is so small, and we've had people here this week from Pennsylvania that want to do a job, and we sent the message to the sales guy in Pennsylvania and said, hey, so-and-so is here, like you to stop and look at a project. And he flew from Pennsylvania to Munich, Germany to have that conversation because it triggered him when he was here. And so it is critical that guy does it the exact same in Ohio and Pennsylvania as your guy in the UK and Germany and Israel, because of how small this industry is. And we impact everybody. And we can have one bad job that it gets from the US to UK in seconds. We don't hear about the 3 million square feet that was done successfally,
right,
that travels that fast.
No.
But we impact each other.
99% of it, but it's the 1% that people always pull you up on.
Yeah.
But I think that's important, and I think, it's like one of the things we were talking about, like, it's important to have some key strategic partnerships that,
Correct.
So you guys aren't a supplier, you're a partner to us, and we structured our agreement in that way for a reason. And I do say this to my teams, I'm like, look, we are the only ones that can do this in the UK. So if it goes wrong, it's not just a slight on Ipsum's brand. We have responsibility for OBIC's brand too, because it's only us doing this. So, you've got the responsibility of two companies' brand on your shoulders for this. So that is the nature of a partnership, right?
Yeah.
So it is really important, and that's one of the things that's important for us is quality. The quality of the people, the quality of the execution, the quality and the standards of the solution that once we lose sight is left with the asset. And we don't want to compromise on that at all, which just makes the recruitment piece harder.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like, your standards are like,
Yeah. We truly appreciate the partnership, as you say, with you guys. We love seeing what you guys are doing. You guys really hit the ground running. I think I can speak for Dustin and the rest of us in saying that we're really excited to see where you guys take this.
Yeah, me too. And I think, again, events like this, speaking to the clients that we've had with us and hearing them talk, and, even just in the last hour when we were talking about some of the different, the lunch and learns and the events, to just bring the awareness up. And it's great that we don't just have to rock up with a PowerPoint presentation. It's like, you want to go outside and see it done. There's no better way to sell something than to show someone the actual thing. So I'm really excited to see, as we start to do, we've got an event in Scotland next week. And we've just been talking with some clients about putting a couple of client-specific events on. We've got you guys coming over to train our next squads in the next month or so as well. And obviously talking with you yesterday about some of the what's in the strategy, what's in the business plans, what's the next bits in the pipeline. There's some exciting stuff that you can see coming down the track in the next 6 to 12 months. So I'm almost like thinking beyond what the guys on the ground are doing now. I'm thinking about some of the stuff you were telling me yesterday, going, right, okay, this is, heading into 2027, I want to be bringing this to my
Welcome to working with Dustin Schlachter. What's next?
What is next? And we let Lee have an out of office on the flight over. But the good thing about going home tomorrow is we get like an extra 8 hours of our day to strategize on the plane and just be completely worn out, because the future is happening fast. And so you guys have hit the ground running. You've done all the blocking and tackling well. Your clients that were here earlier today, I'm excited to hear the outcome of some of those conversations, because you had I'm not going to say all the names, but I noticed 4 different strategic companies, I think, clients maybe, that were here. Just having conversations, being comfortable and understanding what is OBIC, why OBIC, and how does that impact them. And they did. They asked a lot of tough questions and good questions. And so I think that what you guys have done, the strategy to release this and roll it out, your sales team and the guys that came over, they were great. They worked hard while they were in training and understanding. We had a little fun.
Yeah.
But they were great guys, and I think that's a great core to launch from.
So and thanks to you guys as well, because it's a territory that you're not in, and but the support that Noah and the team here in Europe and you guys from the US, it's testament to the effort that you guys. You could have kind of just left it to them and went like, okay, so that's the other side of the water. So best of luck, guys. Check in. But no, I would say we've not noticed the difference between. Doesn't matter whether it's coming from Ohio, doesn't matter whether it's coming from Liechtenstein, it just doesn't matter. I think you've been at our launch events, you've been on the teams calls, you've helped prepare collateral, you've supported teams on the ground with new installs on new asset classes. So I think that's been really good for us, that we haven't felt like we've had to fly the flag pretty much and get this off its ground on its own.
Yeah.
We've felt very much in partnership with that as well, like when we show up, we show up together. And we mobilise, so it's been great. I'd like to thank you for your support in the last year on doing that.
Absolutely. Hey, if you guys grow, we grow, and so we put a lot of time and effort into helping you guys do that, giving you guys any resources that you need. Obviously, if there's anything in the future that you need, just let somebody on our team know. We'll get it figured out. But I wanted to say thanks for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you.
Here's your chance to shout out your favorite team out there. Any football team that you want to shout out on the?
Well, I'm a Liverpool fan. So,
All right.
although last season was amazing, this season has been not, shall we say.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's hope for a good summer in the transfer market and back to winning ways again next
Yeah.
year, I think.
Pull it together, Liverpool. What are we doing?
That's exactly it.
All right. Well, thank you. I
Cheers,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Thanks for having me on.
And we'll see you on the next one.